Good day everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I will be talking about the new case coming from Lian Li known as the Lancool III. Before I begin, I would like to thank Lian Li to have provided this case for me. In fact, it's a gift. Thank you very much. And let's see what this case offers. In the accessory package itself, it contains the instruction manual of the case itself, showing you how to fit certain things like your water pump, your hard disk, and all the screws that is being provided, and etc. A very nice box that contains all the screws that is needed. As mentioned on the manual itself, the SSD grommets or hard disk grommets, some thumb screws. This I believe are for the hard disk. Some fan screws, and I can see that there are some motherboard screws and etc. And inside this package there are two additional hard disk cage. The Lancool III comes in two variants, which is the white and the black, and both these variants have two types. First is the Argb that comes with Argb fans, and the other, which is the non-Argb, it does provide with non-Argb fans. If you are to purchase a Argb black or white case, it comes with this button at the front I/O which state C and M. These two are the ones that control your Argb effects. If you purchase a non-Argb case, be it black or white, you will not have these two functions. For today, I will be presenting the Argb black case. Just like its predecessor, the Lancool II and the Lancool II Mesh, be it the performance or the non-performance, it has all the functions that is brought from the old case to this new design Lancool III. Now as you can see, the front panel itself, this is all meshed, and at the side there are two brushed aluminium. In fact, this is to hold the door. As you know that the Lancool II itself, right, both panels and the bottom you can open it up. For the Lancool III, to open up the two side panel, all you need to do is just to pull this, light pull, and this will be out. And as usual, to take out the glass panel, or should I say the tempered glass, you can just lift it up this way, away from the hinge. And they have actually thickened the size of the tempered glass. This is 4mm thick. And at the bottom section, you will just need to pull. Now, in the past, you will be able to remove off the bottom panel just like this, but this you can't. You will need to remove the top. In fact, there is a captive thumb screw over here where it holds on to the top. As you can see, the top, these are all with mesh holes for airflow. Then you will need to remove off the front. As to remove the front bezel itself, there are no holes at the bottom for you to pull the whole bezel out. So you need to start from the top. I would advise you to hold onto the cage itself, place your whole palm at the top, and with your thumb, right, just pull this out. See, it's out. And do the same at the other side. Now, I know that this will fall off. I will place a pillow, just prevent it from falling. See, it's done. And you can just easily remove the front bezel. Once you've actually taken out the front bezel, you'll be able to take out the bottom panel. And you can do it on the other side. And both panels are out. Please note on the side panel itself, this panel is not interchangeable with the two sides. Reason being, right, as you can see over here, there is a notch. This belongs to the front, which is at the front. On the other end, this is without. So it's actually on the back itself. And for this SSD mount that is on the panel itself, right, it's meant to be on your right hand side of the case itself. And for this, right, will be on the left. Both of these bottom panels are with mesh holes, so there are more air going through. Now on the right side of the panel, which is this, which I've mentioned that there is this SSD mount. If you want more air to go through and you do not use this mount at all, you can remove this off. I will start off with the measurements of the case itself. Measuring from the depth, which is from here to here. This is at 526 millimeters. And the height from the feet to the top, which is 523 millimeters. And the width of this will be at 238 millimeter. At the top of the bezel itself, this is where you find all the I/O controllers. On the extreme left itself, you have the Argb control. The first button which says C, this is meant for controlling the static colors of your Argb fans, which is located at the front. And there is this mode button where you change the pattern of the Argb, followed by a combo jet for the microphone and headset, a reset switch, a power switch, and 2 USB 3 port, followed by a Type-C port. This is the rear of the case itself, whereby at the top section you can place a 120mm fan or a 140mm fan to exhaust all the hot air. And over on the left side itself, this is the I/O cutout for your motherboard I/O shield to be placed over here. And moving down, there are a total of 8 expansion slots. And all these PCIe brackets, you can remove them and you can place it back. And it's being held by thumb screws. And at the bottom over here, this is where you place your PSU. You are able to remove this bracket totally, and these thumb screws are captive. So you can mount your PSU, then you slot it in. This is the interior of the case itself. I'll start off with the motherboard mounting. You'll be able to house a ATX motherboard, M-ATX motherboard, I-ATX motherboard, and if you choose to do a E-ATX motherboard, you can shift off this to one side, and this is secured by 2 thumb screws at the back, which I'm going to show you later, and you will be able to house a E-ATX motherboard. There are 2 cuts out over here, one for your EPS, the other one for your fans to go through. There are 2 large cutouts over here with rubber grommets. This is for you to pass through your 24-pin cable to your motherboard or the Type-C cable to your motherboard. Looking on the extreme right itself, if you can see these slots over here, these are meant for your pump mount if you are doing custom water cooling. Moving at the bottom, you'll be able to mount 320mm fans, which I'm going to illustrate here, and there will be enough clearance behind for your motherboard and the fan itself. And this bottom cage you will be able to remove and to shift location, so you can move it to the front to have more clearance. If you are placing a 360 radiator, there are more clearance over here. And to remove off this tray over here, right, it can totally be removed. There are 2 screws which fix to this holes over here. And on this tray itself, as you can see, there are 3 sections. If you intend to place 320mm fans, you can remove this. I'll show you later. And on this individual piece itself, right, if you can see the holes over here, these are for water mounting pump. Same goes to here, 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 and here. Or you can choose to place SSD hard disk, which you have the cutout over here. Same goes to here. As for this 3 section, right, it's removable. As mentioned, they are of the same, and they are actually held by these screws. As mentioned, if you wanted to place, if you're not placing the SSD or any custom water pumps or the radiator itself, right, remove off the panel and mount the bottom fans. this will give you more airflow. At the most bottom section over here, this is where you place your hard disk, and at the rear, this is for your PSU. Though what you see here is only 2 hard disk cage, in the accessory box, you are given 2 more additional cage for you to house your hard disk. And all is needed is just to place it at the top. As you can see, there are grooves over here. So you align it and to pop it in. Same goes to this. In order to fasten all this, because right now it's actually removable, if you notice on the cage itself, or should I say the tray itself, there is a hole over here, and on the cage itself there is a hole over here. Same goes to the rest over here at the bottom. Maybe I should pull it out. See, at the bottom there are screw threads over here. So all you need to do to fasten the tray itself, just place the thumb screw and screw it in. And this will secure the tray. When you're mounting the hard disk cage itself, please be mindful, because the bottom section and the top section are of different structure. At the bottom, there are no guiding studs. Else, for the top, you have this guiding studs. See? You will be able to mount 4 3.5-inch hard disks, or if you choose to use SSD, that will be 2.5, it will be 4. But overall, in this case itself, how many SSD you can mount, which is 2.5-inch, is total of 12, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As I swivel to the back, 8 and 9, and at the bottom, 10, 11, 12. This case comes with a pre-installed 140mm fans. These 3 in fact are all ARGBs, which is mounted at the front. I've took it out, and at the rear another 140mm. This is non-ARGB. And as for the arrangement of fans in this case itself, if you are using 140mm, you can total place 7 140mm fans, which is from the front itself. You can place 3 over here, which is 3, and at the top you can place 3, which is 6, and at the rear, which is 1 more, which is 7. And as for 120mm fans itself, you can place total of 10 120mm. At the bottom you can place 3, at the front you can place 3, at the top you can place 3, and at the rear you can place 1. So total there will be 10. If you intend to go by air cooling itself, ignore the liquid AIOs over here. The clearance height from the motherboard to the side where you close your side panel, the height will be 185mm tall. Anything above that, right, you will not be able to close the side panel. As for liquid cooling AIOs, you can mount 240 at the top, 240 in the front, or you can mount 360 at the top, 360 in the front, or even a 280 at the top, 280 at the front. And for the top itself, there's additional space for you to place a 420 AIO, not an issue. Now looking at the stats over here, right, this is the ATIC itself, where the thickness of the radiator is 38mm, together with the fans itself, which is 25mm. Total is 63, and there's enough clearance. As you look, this is my dominator ramps. These are high profile ramps, and if I were to move to the side, let me just swivel to the top to let you see the clearance. See, from here to here, it's 40mm gap, as in like you have the clearance is over here. And look at the dominator ramps, which I'm going to lower down this. See, there are more than enough clearance for you to place an Arctic liquid freezer AIO, not an issue. Now, if you are planning to do custom water looping, and you can place 360 rack over here, 360 rack over here, there are enough clearance at the front, 360 at the top, there are also enough clearance. Reason I push this in towards the front, right, because I wanted to show you that for 420 AIO itself, right, you can place two. There are enough clearance. So do not worry that you have not enough space to place all your 360 rad. You can do it full, as in like the top, the front, and the bottom. For custom radiator itself, if you feel that you have placed 360 at the top and 360 at the bottom, both radiators is actually blocking where you can't place the front another 360 itself, do not worry. Now this front cage over here, this, or should I say tray, you can remove it. All is needed is just at the side, there's one thumb screw over here, and at the front, remove this thumb screw. Let me just swivel to the top. And there's this lever over here. Press it and you can remove the whole tray. And this tray, as you can see here, this is facing inside. You can turn this around to place it so that it gives you more clearance for your radiator. See? Done. For graphic card placement itself, be it horizontally or vertically, I don't think there will be an issue for you to mount a tough card, 3080 tough card, a strict card, or even a 3090, or even a EVGA for the win. Not an issue. Do note that if you want to do a vertical mount, make sure you purchase either the Lancool II vertical mount, but take note, Lancool II vertical mount is only with PCIe 3.0, not 4.0. If you want 4.0, you will have to get the O11D vertical mount. And the clearance from here to the front, as on written spec of the case itself, is 420mm. So you have more than enough clearance for you to put a large card. On the other side of the case, where you can see this two cover to cover your cable management itself, in the past for Lancool II, you will need to unscrew the thumb screw and to unlatch both covers. However, on this Lancool III itself, they have implemented a very solid case whereby you don't really have to remove any thumb screw. In fact, it's hinged and you can remove the cover brackets easily and you can place it back easily. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 velcro stripes for you to tidy up your cable, like your EPS cable, like your fan cables, and all your 3.2 USB cables and the 2.4 cables and such SATA cables and etc. And over here, right, it's all the front IO cables that's tucked nicely. Earlier on I mentioned about this tray over here. Let me just swivel over, where you have two big rubber grommets and you can move it. In order to secure this, there are two thumb screws over here. So when you tighten these two thumb screws, right, this will not move. Or you can remove the thumb screw and to remove the whole tray, not an issue. Over on the right hand side itself, this is a additional bracket for you to mount your fan hub, your fan Argb hub and such, or maybe your Uni Fan controllers. There are also additional two more space over here. You can place your Uni controllers or your Strimer Plus V2 controllers. You can also remove this bracket, and this is actually the cutout for you to place your back plate if you intend to fix the air coolers and such. Something which I like a lot, which is this two hard disk cage, is meant for SSD, is toolless. So if you were to put any SSD, right, all you need to do is just to align and that's it. You will be in place. It's with spring action, as you can see. So I can just place the SSD and it will just catch and you will not go anywhere. For your information, you can remove this two cage too. Just remove the screws and this will be out. Right at the bottom there are two hard disk cage, and this area here is for you to place your power supply. Now from the measurements length from the end and before hitting the cage itself, you have a clearance of 180mm in length. Even if you exceed it, you can remove the hard disk cage. All you need to do is just to remove these two thumb screws Probably you just use one hard disk cage, and this you just slide to the back and to remove. See, it's done. And if you do not want to have this cage over here, you can remove too. All you need to do is just to slide towards you and take it out. Takes a bit of feathering. See, it's done. To put back the hard disk cage itself, do take note that the guiding studs is different from each cage. As you can see over here, these are equal, but this is slightly offset. So the one that is actually equal is the front. So make sure that this is the back and this is the front. Align it. See, it's done. And for this, you will need to move to the back over here, as the 4 holes is actually here, 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 and here. So again, align it and slide it back and fasten with the thumb screws. Before I go through with all the cables over here, there is another neat feature whereby you can remove off this front I/O panel. Instead of mounting from the top, you can put it at the bottom. Reason to mount it at the bottom, probably you might place this case on your desk and it's too high up, so you can just remove this. I've taken off the 2 screws, so you just need to slowly guide and to remove all this out. There are 2 screws that is holding this controller over here, or should I say the front I/O, with 2 screws. As you can see, this is the top section. I have mounted the I/O at the bottom, which is, these are the feet, and this is where the controller is, or should I say the front I/O. Now once you place this right, the front bezel itself, as you can see, I can't put it back. Reason being, right, the slot is over here. It should match with this, so I need to turn it over this way. And in order for me to turn it this way, right, I need to change the logo, which you can remove the logo. There are 2 screws. I removed one, and this is the other one. And you can take out the logo, which is over here. So once you have actually taken out this logo, right, replace it over here, which also there are 2 screws. Now I have actually unscrewed both ends. Over here, the screws, and over here I managed to take this out, but the logo here, right, is rather difficult. You might need to find something to poke through over here. So probably a screw bit, then you just push this up and it will just drop off. See, I removed the logo itself. So originally it was here, so right now you got to flip and place it over here, which is at the bottom. As an illustration, you see this is from the bottom, the feet are here, and this is the top. Additional function of this case itself, I've taken off the front bezel. Now the front tray, as I've illustrated, you can remove this by pressing this and you take this out. The whole tray from the front, you can take it out. And at the top, there are 2 screws over here. You can unscrew them and to remove the top. This is the top mounting bracket, and the screws over here, right, are captive, so you won't lose them. Also, at the bottom cage over here, this is removable. As why I've detached all the tray outside the case itself, because you can mount your fan, your radiator on these trays, be it the top, the bottom, and the front, and you can do all your cable management just to cut down the cable mess. And when you feed it to your case itself, right, it's much easier. And I believe at the top over here, where you have a hole, when you mount the custom water loop radiator, I believe this is the inlet where you pump the distilled water to your radiator, or maybe to your water pump. I've deliberately removed off the front I/O itself. There are lots of cables, as you can see over here. Let me just go through with you one by one. Now at this end over here, first you have the power switch, and this is also where the reset switch is, and all the LEDs, which is meant for your power, your reset. Next will be the USB Type-C, which is meant for this. And this is the USB 3.0 connector for the two USB socket at the front. Now over at this end over here, the combo headphone and microphone jack, in fact, is this, where it says audio. Then you have a group of cables over here. Now these are mainly ARGB connectors and power source. I'll start off with this. You will see something like this, whereby you can detach this and plug this to your Uni Fan controller, or if you choose to control by the motherboard itself, right, you can connect this and to plug this to your motherboard. Else over the switch over here, right, you need to hold on it for about 3 seconds, and when the ARGB at the front where your fans are, right, when they go black or turn off, then you'll be able to use your motherboard to control the ARGB itself. Next will be this cable over here. Now as the front fan, they have 3 RGB connectors which come with the case itself. So you plug this to this, all controlled by these two controllers. In fact, what I'm introducing you right now is all controlled by these two controllers, or so I say the button itself. Then next, you have these 3 cables over here. These are additional ARGB. Let's say you want to put strips, you want to put maybe your AIO pump, or maybe something else. You want to increase more fans itself, which is controlled by the controller over here, or you can bypass or to make use the motherboard, which I showed you earlier. 3 additional cables where you can make use of all the different ARGB devices, and each of this is providing 1.2 ampere. So take note, don't go overload. 1.5, you might just blow the controller itself. And last but not least, the most important part of all, which is the SATA source. You must plug this to your PSU in order to provide the power to make use of the buttons over here, and to provide all the current needed for your ARGB devices that is connected to all these cables. After reading through the manual again, I found out something very important which I missed out. On the accessory box itself, right, where you have this plastic box that contains all the screws, I have forgotten to mention that Lian Li have provided you guys the anti-sag bracket, which is meant for your GPU. So very thoughtful of Lian Li. On this Lian Li Lancool III itself, my take is super modular. Most of the improvement they've actually done, right, I believe that they do listen to our point of view and to enhance on better casing and the management wise, the space wise. And I would say that this is another piece of Lego, fantastic Lego that I'll love to play with, and I'll be migrating all my stuff to this case itself. Now, I hope you guys have actually enjoyed what I've shared with you. I know it's very lengthy because I wanted to actually go deep into the details of this case itself. And for those of you who are actually new to my channel, welcome to my channel. If you like my content, do remember to subscribe and to support my channel by clicking on the notification bell button. Till then, take care, goodbye, see you.